So I'm going to start beginning by talking about some of the common myths and misconceptions about nonprofits. So like these are your everyday objections that we hear all the time. Um, the industry segment is smaller than others. So risks like restaurants, contractors, hotels, and apartments are so much easier to find and more profitable to write. So that's actually not true because nonprofit sector typically will have about 2 million nationwide within the industry. And a really fun stat that someone told me that stuck with me is for every Starbucks that you see around the corner, know that there is a nonprofit around there too, and much more. So if you can imagine, there's just nonprofits everywhere, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Nonprofits have charitable immunity, so they don't really need insurance. Um, what exactly is charitable immunity? So for every state, it's essentially saying that like because they're a nonprofit, they are immune to like getting sued, but that's not necessarily true. Even though they have that, every single state's laws are a little bit different. And what it doesn't cover is that they won't provide defense costs. And if the nonprofit has any employees, all of those are risks that aren't covered. So even though there is some type of charitable immunity, this is dated and limited in terms of the scope of what they can provide. And nobody can sue a nonprofit. So as someone that works for an insurance company, I can tell you that is definitely false. Nonprofits, even with the best intentions, will always come across and offend someone, or something might happen by accident and a lawsuit's on their hands that they have no means or experience to deal with it. That's why insurance is so important to have. And when they say nonprofits don't have money, so they can't pay for premiums. Um, to run a nonprofit, even though their goal is not to benefit and have a profit, they still have donations coming in. They still have grants coming in. That's what they need in order to run the organization. So if an insurance premium would say it's, our lowest premium is like $475, that's more than affordable compared to your average claim, which costs about $150,000. So, what are some examples of nonprofit organizations? As I mentioned earlier, there's over 2 million nonprofits nationwide. And so those are including ones without 501c status. So, what that means is even though they don't have their official status, they're run like a nonprofits do, and we'll still write those. 70,000 new entities are filling in every single year. So the number of nonprofits are growing. And this is just a little bit of stats of like how it's broken out. So far, there's over 400K in social services, 500K in membership orgs, and 350K in houses of worship. So as you can see, this is a huge sector. There's enormous opportunity in here, and it's a great account to place. Like nonprofits are smaller, they're easier to place, and once they have that insurance, typically they will stay with the insurance. They'll just automatically renew. It's not one that's overly complicated. They don't typically change their missions. So once you land these accounts, typically they'll stay with you.